What is the deal, YouTube? It is your boy, One Star Week, and you are now watching another episode of the Broke Boy Road to Glory. And as you guys know, we have the conclusion of the Weekend League gameplay today. It's the last day of the Weekend League. We also have some packs on your screen that I did open recently. They did drop a FGS Challenge SBC. That was fairly easy to do, but being that there is no promo cards and packs, yeah, we didn't really get too excited about opening it, and with good reason. We packed absolutely nothing. We ended up getting level 27 in season progress, which of course means that you can get a prime players pack from a specific league. Normally the Premier League is in there. I don't know why they took it out this time around. So we ended up doing the league own prime players pack because realistically, the only player I'd want out of one of these packs, aside from SBC fodder, is Neymar. So I took a swing and we took a big miss. We didn't even get a board. So yeah, it is what it is. We move and let's jump into the squad. I have a very different video for you guys today. Normally I give you guys a Weekend League wrap up. I let you guys know how my Weekend League went, and we're gonna do that. But today we're gonna be talking about our new custom tactics, a new formation. I think that these are the best tactics I've used in a while, so I did want to share them with you. All right, so as you guys know, we tried out a new formation this weekend after trying it out in Rivals for like 7 to 8 games. It is a 3-1-4-2 formation. And as you guys know, for the majority of the year, I've just bounced around different 3 at the back formations, the 3-5-2, the 3-1-4-2, not the 3-1-4-2, 3-4-1-2. I've even tried, I think, the 3-4-2-1, which I couldn't really get to work 100%. But this 3-1-4-2 formation, I think, is actually the best 3 at the back formation I've used all year. Maybe it has something to do with the pass that just dropped. Maybe this formation just works well with it for whatever reason. But I'm going to talk about it, all right? So these are the custom tactics I used. I used pressure on heavy touch with 4 width and 7 depth. And really here, I wanted to play a semi-high line without being too exposed. I think this really makes it important to have fast defenders in this formation, but that really goes for any 3 at the back formation. And 7 depth means that at times your defensive line will do an auto offside trap, and as long as the gameplay is not too shabby, the auto offside trap is actually a very good thing. It times it very well, and it's actually better timed than the ones I normally do. Looking at the offensive tactics, I have chosen to go with possession with 5 width and 6 players into the box. And really, I'm using possession because I think that that's really the most meta, or not necessarily the most meta, but it's the way that I play the best on this game. A lot of people don't really like possession because they find that the players move too slow. But in this formation, with the amount of attackers that you will have pushing forward, the possession playstyle really allows you to always have a player to pass to. And with passing being nerfed with all these successive patches, I think it's really important to always have a passing outlet. So I really enjoy the possession playstyle. If you play slow, controlled build-up, I think you're really gonna enjoy that tactic. But what I do like about this formation is that if you want to play a different style, you can do that. There were times in the games where I was losing, I switched to long ball, I switched to fast build-up, and it still works. This formation is just very well-rounded. I think it's very balanced. And corners and free kicks, I think, are down to personal preference. I prefer to do 2 and 2. I don't like to overcommit on these. I don't really score very often on them. I don't think it's the best idea to really overcommit because then you might get countered. And as you guys know, 1 through ball and it's all over, you're getting scored on. So when you look at the players I'm using in this formation, we are using Ronaldo and Mbappe up top. One thing you really have to know with this formation, which I've said in the previous video, is that these guys over here are actually your wide mids. You see on the left-hand side, let me move my cursor. You see on the left-hand side of your screen where it has the green check mark and it shows you the actual formation. That's how it looks in game. And you would think these guys up here, where I have my cursors, Koeman and Jones, are your wide mids, but that's actually a misconception. Your wide mids in this formation are Alexander-Arnold and Rooney. Those guys are going to be your wide mids. I don't know why it shows up like this, but the way to prove this to you is if you open this on the web app, if you open this in the companion app, it really shows up the proper way. It shows up with the wide mids, and these guys are going to be your wide mids. So let me go into the tactics I'm using to really better explain why I'm using these tactics. So we have Cristiano Ronaldo and Mbappe as the strikers. I like to get them both on getting behind. It gives you some outlets. It gives you a way to stretch the defense. What I do like to do is have them both, or at least not both, one of them on drift wide. I think it's a tactic that a lot of you guys, or a lot of people I've heard, don't really use. A lot of people like to use balanced or maybe even stay central. But I think that drift wide really makes the attack more predictable or unpredictable, because when you have both of your strikers on balance or both of your strikers on stay central, it becomes very easy, I think, for better opponents to really predict where your players are going to go. When you have one of them on drift wide or even both of them on drift wide, it makes things more hard to cover. Your players will make more, I feel like they make more intelligent runs, and I really enjoy it. So these guys, once again, are your wide mids, Rooney and Alexander-Arnold. And what I have both of them doing are very similar to what I do in a 3-5-2 or a 3-4-1-2, which is to come back on defense, stay wide, and get in behind. I also have them staying, well, actually I have one getting into the cross, getting the box for cross, one staying on the edge of the box for cross, and really I'm doing this because you want them to stay wide. In 3 at the back formations, I've noticed that if you don't have your wide mids staying wide, they interchange with the CMs or the CDMs in whatever formation you're using, and they get out of position very quickly, so I don't enjoy that. That's why I have them on stay wide. They definitely have to come back on defense, because if you don't put that tactic on them, they're going to stay at the touch line. They're going to stay at the halfway line. And with the way that you need to defend, you're going to need to defend wide formations. They're going to be your counters to people's fullbacks overlapping, or counters to people's wingers overlapping. So you definitely need them to come back. I have them both on getting in behind, because once again, you want them to really push up and down the pitch. They're going to be your pseudo fullbacks, wingbacks in this formation. I think it's really important. And really in these positions, you're going to need players with high stamina. Most of the time, you're going to want players who have well-rounded stats. That's why I have Rooney here. He has a very well-rounded set of stats. He has enough pace to get up and down the pitch. He could finish, he could pass, and he could also defend, and he has some good physical. I have Team of the Year Alexander-Arnold in this position. Of course, he's going to be one of the best players you can use here. You really want, once again, a well-rounded fullback or well-rounded winger type player in these positions with high stamina. And if you use them correctly and you don't overcommit, I noticed that they actually don't get tired in these tactics, in this formation, in comparison to what I've used in the past when I do long ball or when I use 3-5-2 or 3-4-1-2 formation. So next I'm going to talk about the CMs. And I think it's important here to have one box-to-box and one out-and-out CDM. In this formation, because my team is so good and so overpowered, I actually have 2 box-to-box CMs, but still the tactics are important. I think one of them needs to stay back. That's Curtis Jones. He needs to cover center and stay on the edge of the box for cross. I don't want him running into the box. I already have enough attacking options, and I want him to really cover if I get countered. My other CM is Prime Icon Moments Koeman, and he has more license to attack. He's on balance. He's not on stay back. He still does track back, so don't worry about that. He's on cover center, and I actually have him on balanced crossing run, so he's not overcommitting, but he's not undercommitting as well. He provides another outlet. He provides a late run into the box. If you're being covered on every other option, I really enjoy that. And yeah, this is really very similar to what you do in a 4-2-3-1 or a 3-5-2, where you don't want too overly defensive or overly offensive players. You want the balance. You want a box-to-box, and you want an attacking CDM type player. Somebody who can finish in the box, and somebody like a Conte to sweep up the mess if you're getting countered. You have here also a CDM, and that's what I really enjoy about this formation. I think the three-man midfield with the 3 center backs in this formation is absolutely nuts. It pretty much, if you get your defense set, you end up with 6 defenders in front of your box, and it becomes very easy to stop opponents' attacks, in my opinion, especially with a lot of people using narrow formations or 5-3-2s. So your CDM here is going to be a Conte-like player. I have mid-icon Lam, who we are fortunate enough to have untradeable on this account. He's on cut passing lanes and stay back while attacking. And really, he's just going to be there. He can be an outlet if you need to recycle possession, because that's going to happen a lot with the way you play in this formation. But he's also there to stop any counters, to shield the back 3. And really, if you get countered really quickly, he's going to be there. So you're going to have 4 players defending if you get caught out. But at the same time, if you hold possession for a lot of time, he will be showing up at the touchline to recycle possession. And ideally, you want somebody here who could dribble, who could also pass very well. It's not the prerequisites. I've used Essien in this role. And like I said, I can foresee somebody using somebody like Conte in this role. I think it's very important, like once again, to have somebody with medium-high work rates and somebody who could just shield the back 3 very effectively. And with the back 3 here, we're going to use, I think, a pacey back 3. I think that's very important. Your slowest center back is going to be ideally also a big center back who you can have in the middle. And your wide center backs you're going to want with as much pace as possible. I have Kleiber here, who's very overpowered in this role. And we also have Maldini, baby icon here on the wing. Not on the wing, on the outside center back role. Just like in any back three, you're going to want 2 players here at least with 85 pace on the outside parts. And the middle part, you want him to have at least 77 pace. Really, they're going to defend very compact. When you get countered, you're going to have 3 people in the middle ready to counter any counters that you do get hit with. I mean, really, you want them to have pace. The wide ones, you're going to want to have as much agility and pace as possible. And that really goes with any 3 at the back formation. So yeah, let's jump into the gameplay. I'm gonna give you some. I'm gonna show you guys how the gameplay played out. I'm gonna show you guys some of my goal scoring techniques, just by showing you guys the way I scored goals, because I did face a lot of good opponents. Yeah, let's get into it. All right, so the big question for you or for me: what did I finish in the weekend league? Why should you listen to my tactics? I finished 14-3, and with a team like this, you might be wondering like, yo, isn't that just the average finish? And I would say, yeah, it's actually not the best finish in the world. When you have a team like this, where you have team of the year Mbappe, you got 4 icons, you got Ronaldo, you pretty much have overpowered players in every single position. 14-3 was the prerequisite, but the way that the tactics played in game, and I've used it with a weaker team on my pay to win account, I really have a lot of confidence in it, and I've used it in delayed gameplay and really responsive gameplay, which we were lucky enough to have today. And it worked equally as well. What I do enjoy about it in comparison to the other 3 at the back formations is that, like I said, the 3-man midfield really is a game changer. And what it changes defensively is that when you get your defense set, you're actually defending with 8 players. And that's not to say we're parking the bus. We're not. Like you saw on the screen, we have 7 depth. We're pressuring on heavy touch. So ideally, when you lose the ball, you're going to want to push up and try to win the ball back as quick as possible. But if you don't, you have the 3 midfielders in the middle to fall back on. You also have the 3 center backs to fall back on. And then if your opponent takes a long time to attack, which part of the reason why you're pressuring is to stop their counter in the bud and make them attack slowly. When you slow their attack down, you're gonna have the wide mids coming back to defend as well. You have 8 men in defense, and when your defense is set, it's gonna be incredibly hard to really break down the defense, because you're gonna have 3 men in the middle cutting passing lanes. You're gonna have your 3 center backs in the middle just as rocks in the defense, and if they try to attack you wide, you're gonna have your wide mids coming back on defense covering that as well. So really, you're defending with 8, and when you push forward, I really enjoy how it plays. One thing I do have to say as a disclaimer: if you're somebody who likes to attack quickly, if you're somebody who likes to counter, and like maybe you like to sit back, you like to counter very quickly, this might not be the formation for you. The one weak point I found with these tactics, with this formation, is the fact that the counters are not the easiest to pull off. And the reason for this is because you only have 2 strikers up top. So let's say you're like me, you have Mbappe and you have Ronaldo up top. You could get the ball to them very quickly, but they don't really have much support because you don't have a cam, and your wide mids are, you know, like, they're wide mids. They're not wingers. They're not anything like that. Your midfielders are going to be still in the middle of the pitch. So really, the patience is key when it comes to attacking with this formation. You're going to want to dribble a lot with your midfielders. So ideally, you'd like one of them, like I said, to be more attacking oriented. Somebody who could really dribble, who could pass very well. Somebody like a Javi or somebody like a Seedorf. Somebody who could really recycle possession over and over. You're going to really find that if you attack very patiently with this formation, the overloads that you create at all parts of the pitch really make it impossible for your opponent to cover every player. If you open your eyes, and maybe you could even use the co-op camera settings like I do, where you can see the whole pitch very well, you're always gonna have an open up player. It's really, I've noticed, even against good players, because I did play an Elite 1 player in my 16th game, which I did lose, but I played him very well. He was only winning 1-0 until the 75th minute. I did lose 3-0 because I had to push all my men forward to try to get that tying goal. But it was a very close game. And what I did notice with even him is that I always had attacking options. I always had somebody open. And it's really, really a fun formation to play in if you like to play patient, if you know how to pick a pass, and everything like that. And defensively, like I said, it's very compact, with the 3 men in the midfield, the 3 center backs. So I think it's actually the best and most well-rounded 3 at the back formation that I've used this year. 2 of my losses, because I did go 14-3, 2 of my losses did come at the beginning of the weekend league when I was still getting used to the formation. But once I got it clicking, oh man, this was a formation where I was attacking well, I was defending well. Another tip that I've really experienced this weekend that has allowed me to defend a lot better was what I've noticed when I defend in the box with my center backs is I hold down L2 and R2 too much, and I quick jockey. And really, you should be only using that to cut off passing lanes, to cut off big amounts of space. But when you're in the box, I've noticed that if you hold L2 and just position your defenders better, let's say just position your center back in between the attacker and the goal, eventually they're going to run out of space because you have three center backs and 3 midfielders just plugging up the middle, and eventually they're running into your defense. So my suggestion is to only tackle when you need to, hold L2 and just try to cover that space. Eventually you're going to run out of space, you're going to get the ball back, and if you run out of passing options, let's say you're being pressured, I've always noticed that it's nice to have a striker that could win the ball in the air. If not, your wide mids are always open. One tip for you guys to transition the ball from the center backs to the wide mids very quickly is to use the driven cross pass. The R1 square pass is not only for passes into the box. I've also noticed that it's a good way to switch play very well. It's a good way to get the ball up the pitch very quickly. And as long as your opponent doesn't have anybody marking that passing lane, it's going to really catch him by surprise and allow you to really transition play very quickly. And like I said, really with this formation, you're trying to choke your opponent out. You're gonna hold at least 60% possession if you play properly. You're gonna defend very well as well, and you're always gonna have the control of the game. And I think that's what I really enjoy about this formation. It's really allowed me to control games, both offensively and defensively. And really, your opponents end up getting impatient most of the time, defensively or offensively, and you're able to capitalize on those tactics. So yeah, like I said, I finished 14-3 in this formation. I think the MVPs of this team were, of course, Mbappe and Ronaldo, as always. But an unsung hero, I have to say, was this Coleman card. I did not expect much of him, especially when I looked at his dribbling stats. But this guy was clutch. He scored clutch goal after clutch goal. He made clutch tackles. His passing was absolutely insane. And he was exactly what I needed as a balanced CM in this formation, pushing forward, pushing backwards, doing everything I needed in defense and attack. So yeah, we're going to finish this episode right here. Let me know in the comments what formations you're using, what you've done, and how you've done in the weekend league. Once again, don't forget to like and subscribe. I will see you in the next episode, but until then,